59 or send an SMS to 555. One Africa TV. It just gets better. We always love to hear from you. Send us your views, comments, and videos with your name and town to the One Africa TV's WhatsApp on 081 200 6659 or send an SMS to 555. One Africa TV. It just gets better.
Welcome. I'm Leonie Visser. I'm a teacher at St. Paul's College with 25 years experience in economics. If any student or teacher in Namibia need any help with any topic in economics, ordinary or AS level syllabus, they can visit our YouTube videos on the St. Paul's website, which is www.spcnam.org, and there you can follow the link to the specific topics that you experience trouble with. Please note that these videos are not the only way of studying economics. This is just what I have experienced success with, and that's why I want to share it with you.
How would you describe the Chris Wayne style as a producer?
I would explain it like this, right? Mm-hmm. If you hear my music, that's the only time you're gonna really understand. Mm-hmm. I cannot express it in words. Get the bag through you, pay your bills, no stress. Be the best, only I can.
How do you come up with these rhymes? Like, what do you do? How do you stay updated with vocab, you know? Yeah. Are you just an A student or?
No. I never even finished school. Let's not even go there.
Yeah, man.
Let's not even go there. So it's just based on a true story.
Where you at though? At the check though. Tell my boozers they be looking for my info. Got a black coat. You won't flight go. We gon' paint the city red with a black stroke. Where you at? Tell me where you at though? Where you? Tell me where you at though? Where you at?
We are busy today with lesson 20 and PowerPoint 20. We are still working on 3.2, which is market forces, and we today look at the equilibrium price, and we will look at changes, not only as we have seen changes of the supply curve in the previous lesson, and the changes of the demand curve in the previous lesson. We will also look today of changes in the price and how it affects the demand and supply. Okay, if you look on the PowerPoint, you will see the equilibrium price. If I must give you a definition of the equilibrium price of a good, is the price where the demand is equal to the supply. So you can clearly see where the demand and supply intersect at point E, that is your equilibrium point. Now your equilibrium price and your equilibrium quantity will be at that point. So you can look at the next graphs for the next graph, and you can also see that if there is a change in the supply or a change in the demand, obviously your equilibrium point will change. Okay, the first example on the PowerPoint show you a change of the curve. And that is a change of the demand curve. So you can see they have drawn a demand and a supply diagram, and now they gave you an example, and they say after research has been done, it is discovered that the use of butter is good for your health. Okay, with the effect on the demand curve, they ask you to draw a demand and supply diagram for butter. So after research has been done that butter will improve your health, you will obviously, the consumer will demand more butter. So you can see the demand have increased. They didn't say anything of supply, so your supply stay exactly the same. And now you see you have a new equilibrium point, and you have a new price and a new quantity on that. If we look at the other graph, they tell you that the price have changed of petrol, and they ask you to draw a demand and supply diagram for petrol. So what do? First thing that you do is you increase the price on the graph, because they say the price have increased. And after that, you see the effect on the demand and supply diagram. So they didn't tell you the demand will change, and they didn't tell you the supply will change. They just tell you that the price change. And if you draw this graph in the short run, you will only show that. If you draw this graph in the long run, then you will show, because of the increase in price, that the demand will decrease. People will buy less fuel. And that will then move the demand curve in the long run to the left. But if you show it in the short run, the only thing you do is increasing the price. Okay, then we have on the slide now, the first graph show you the change of the graph. So is the supply increasing or decreasing? And the second graph show you if there's a change of the price. Now the first example tell you that due to rainfall, the supply of maize have increased. So what do you hear? You don't hear anything of price. You don't hear anything of demand. The only information they give you is that the supply increase. So if the supply increase, your supply curve will obviously move to the right. You have new equilibriums, and you have new prices and quantities. If we look at the second graph and the second example, they also ask you to draw a demand and supply diagram. But in this case, they ask you to draw it for, they tell you that in this market, the meat prices increase. So you draw a demand and supply diagram for meat, and that they tell you the meat prices have increased. So the first thing that you do, you increase the price for meat, and then you see on the short run the effect, how it affects the quantity, and then only in the long run the demand will change, and maybe the supply will change because of this increase in the price. But that we don't know. Will people demand less? Will they demand more because of the price change? Will the supplier react by supplying more or less? That we also don't know, because they didn't indicate. You remember that we have talked about what is the inferior good. An inferior good is a good that we can't go without. So, for example, if bread is an inferior good and they increase the price of bread from $10 to $12, you will still buy the bread because you can't go without it. And in that case, the price may increase, but the demand will not change. If it changes, it will change a small, very little. And so the supply will then also not change. Okay, we have examples of a demand curve where the price is constant, where the price don't change. It doesn't matter what amount of is demanded, how many people are interested, the price stay constant. And this normally happens where the government decides this is the inferior good. We are not going to allow anyone that supplies this good to supply it at a higher price. So, for example, like electricity or power, they put a limit to the price. They say that nobody may ask a price higher than this. So, in a case like that, it's a fixed price. The price will not change. It doesn't matter what the demand is. And in that case, if you show it on the graph, the price will not move. We also have situations where you have graphs where you can see the fixed supply, so like a soccer stadium. If a soccer stadium can only take 60,000 spectators, that's a fixed supply. It doesn't matter what the price is, the supply stays 60,000. So we can also show you a graph that look like that. And you can also look at the two graphs, the graphs for taxes and the graphs for subsidies. You know that subsidies decrease the price. So if you look at that graph, you will see a decrease in the price for that product, and then see the effect that it has on the quantity demand and the quantity supply. For taxes, it increased the price of products. So you can also see on the graph the effect it has on the quantity, demand and supply. It's very important if we talk about the non-market prices. Non-market prices mean it is not influenced by demand and supply. The government step in and set a price. They call this price policies. So the government will, for example, also say, in this country, nobody may earn less than $20 per hour if you work as a security guard. So that is a non-market price set by the government. Then the government will set prices which is called minimum prices. It means nobody may earn less than that. That is, for example, for security guard workers. But the government may also put maximum prices, and that is, for example, for bread. And they say nobody may charge a price higher than $12 for bread. Because bread is the inferior product, we protect the consumer, and that is where we put a limit to this. So if you look on this graphs for non-market prices, please see that the maximum price is lower than the market price, and the minimum price is higher than the market price. I will clearly indicate to you that. That is sometimes very confusing to students, but if you understand what minimum price means, it means this is the minimum. You may not earn less than that. And maximum means they may not charge you a price higher than that. They may charge less, but not more. Okay, then I gave you a classwork question. Again, a question on demand and supply. There's two of them. and it will be good for you to work through them, because that's the type of questions that we will get in tests and exams.
Shaka, shaka.
I have international features that's coming up, big features that I can't really mention right now.
Now, don't tell us.
But I'm really excited about that because it's like, that will probably be the biggest feature ever in my career.
You sent Black Coffee your music, and he responded?
Yeah. So that was like the biggest highlight.
Before you continue, I just want to say all the artists who, when Davichi sent his stuff, said, no, we don't know you. Beat the beat now.
Ja, Mannis! Dann wird mal wach aus dem Bock. Hey, okay, hier steht, die Welt geht bald unter. Deshalb wird Stiefenei da draußen. Wo ist meine Krüger? Ich denke, wir sind noch reif. Nam ist anyway so 10 Jahre hinter so.
Leogi, guess was? Hier kommen wieder diese Nam-Boys, zeigen euch was ganz Neues. Wir singen unser Shit auf Netzwerk, dass es euch gefällt. Hier kommen wieder diese Nam-Boys, eure Number One Choice. Einfach die gechillten Ogis auf der ganzen Welt. Ja, das Highspeed Internet ist da. Deswegen hört ihr jetzt erst von den Boys aus Afrika. Aber nicht vorhin, wir sind way genauso cool wie du, mein Paar. Nur wenn wir reden, reden wir ein Biggie de Mekar. Ja, wir sind mal eingechillt, jetzt wird den Tag lang gegrillt. Bei uns nennt man das frei, der Rest hat ne Flavor. Ja.
Hey, was denn da los, bra? Alle chillen nicht vor das Kino und decken diesen Fame. Snapchat seine Macht. Ey, ich rap nicht oft, doch wenn ich rap, ich mein Sandwich lecker dick im Butterbrotpapier wie deine Mutti bei dir. Check mein Teil ist so advanced, ich copy base in meine Fans. Deswegen bin ich so spontan und change immer meine Plans.
Hier kommen wieder diese Nam-Boys, zeigen euch was ganz Neues. Wir singen unser Shit auf Netzwerk, dass es euch gefällt. Hier kommen wieder diese Nam-Boys, eure Number One Choice. Einfach die gechillten Ogis auf der ganzen Welt. Hier kommen wieder diese Nam-Boys, zeigen euch was ganz Neues. Wir singen unser Shit auf Netzwerk, dass es euch gefällt. Hier kommen wieder diese Nam-Boys, eure Number One Choice. Einfach die gechillten Ogis auf der ganzen Welt. Na, 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 na. Voll doch mal. Na, 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 na. Yo, wir sind Ogis, wir chillen nicht den ganzen Tag und liken diesen Stress, ich will liken nicht, wenn man lacht. Weil Gangsters alles auf, wir cruisen nicht noch mit mein Guy ist älter als ich, egal solange ich bewege. Der Boomer trinkt in der Hand und in der anderen mein Phone. Vor Wi-Fi war man Windhoek ist jetzt LTE so. Ja,
Was? Dein Internet ist klar. Ist doch kein Wunder mit deinen WhatsApp-Stories, bra. Oh, wir Boys sind gechillt, so ist deine Chick mal nicht hot. Nicht vorhin schick mir net einen Pick, ich bin nur gut im Photoshop. Hey, check diese Kack-Idee, ich stand jetzt im Komitee mit unserer Wasser-Selfies vom Moschikoto-See.
wir kommen die Ogis ohne Videoplan, immer rennen mit oder ohne Plan. Oh yeah, wir machen Bullbox auf und bieten an, müssen mal Biggie chillen, Mann. Jetzt sind wir klar, hier kommen wieder diese Nam-Boys, zeigen euch was ganz Neues. Wir singen unser Shit auf Netzwerk, dass es euch gefällt. Hier kommen wieder diese Nam-Boys, eure Number One Choice. Einfach die gechillten Ogis auf der ganzen Welt. Hier kommen wieder diese Nam-Boys, zeigen euch was ganz Neues. Wir singen unser Shit auf Netzwerk, dass es euch gefällt. Hier kommen wieder diese Nam-Boys, eure Number One Choice. Einfach die gechillten Ogis auf der ganzen Welt. Na, 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 na. Hier kommen wieder diese Nam-Boys. Hier kommen wieder diese Nam-Boys.
Prevention is important. Help prevent the spread of illness and keep yourself and others well. Hand washing is one of the most effective ways of preventing the spread of germs. Wash your hands regularly with soap and hot water, scrubbing your hands thoroughly for at least 20 seconds. Hand sanitizers can be used but are not recommended as a substitute for hand washing. Use sanitizers in addition to hand washing or in a situation where soap